Hey everyone, welcome to the Urban Outcast. I'm your host, the Outcast, Mark Urban. All right, as I continue to interview interesting people throughout Bellingham and Whatcom County, I have someone with me today who is quite knowledgeable on Islam, and that's a pretty popular ongoing topic today in today's news and how it ties into everything that's going on in our news cycle right now. So I thought it'd be nice to get somebody who knows a little bit more about it and kind of educate us a bit on, the different sects of Islam, the different, beliefs throughout their system, that kind of thing, and how it ties into where we are and, America and the war on terror, open borders, all that kind of thing, and politics, of course. So I have with me Michael Copley. Michael, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Mark.
So interesting times we live in here with everything going on in the news cycle. There's this uptick of Islam in this country for a number of reasons. We have people coming through for our open borders under the Biden administration. We have politicians now that are Muslim, and I want to kind of just dispel some of the myths and get into what we're looking at and what people think and what is actually true about Islam. And you actually converted to Islam when you were in prison. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Now, how long ago was that?
I got out in 2000,
Okay.
so it's been 25 years. And I didn't fully convert.
Okay.
I got into it.
Oh, okay.
I got into it. First, I want to start like this.
Sure.
I'm not from here. I'm from the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, and mainly Maryland. I grew up fatherless. And at one point, I had a stepfather who never really accepted me, and I really didn't get to know him, but he was Jewish, and he introduced me into the Jewish social thing going on. My mom kept trying to take me to church when I was young, and I had a really bad attitude, and basically my mother gave up on me. At the age of 12, I started going into institutions and whatnot. She didn't want to handle me, and foster homes, stuff like that. And I became a drug addict very young. I had a stepbrother that went to the original Woodstock concert, and I used to go in and steal drugs out of his room when I was a little kid. And so I got introduced into drugs real early. And I would run away all the time just so I could go out and do drugs. I went to jail. I probably got my 18th birthday. I was in jail. I've been to several jails, a couple of mental institutions, and different prisons. I stopped doing drugs, and the last time I went to prison 4 times. The first time for 3 years, second time 1 year, third time 1 year. And the fourth time, I got a 9-year sentence, and I did 7.5 years on that 9 years. Never made parole. And
Can I ask you a question? Do you feel that you may not have gotten out of drugs if it wasn't for prison?
oh, yeah. There's no way, because they didn't have drug treatment when I was young. They didn't have rehabs.
Yeah.
So they just kept sending me to prison. And then the last time I said, and the really weird thing about it is I wouldn't do drugs in prison because you can't get away from your drug dealer.
So are they that prominent? They're that available in prison?
No.
Okay.
Not now.
Not now.
It used to be.
Really?
If once you stop doing drugs and you use your brain, you start being able to manipulate and be able to get things in and whatnot. So The last time I went to prison, I joined Narcotics Anonymous. It was the only rehab that they had available and whatnot. And in Narcotics Anonymous, you have to have a higher power in order to overcome whatever is happening inside of you. So I'm like, you know, do I want to be a Christian? No. Do I want to be, you know, where am I going to find this higher power? I actually found it through Quakerism. I went into Islam, going inside, you know, I'm a tattoo artist, and I learned in prison how to tattoo. And I got respect and whatnot. I wasn't using drugs, so I was a skater. It means I was always on the move. President of the JCs, chairman of Narcotics Anonymous. I actually got through the governor, his name was Glenn Denning at the time, more NA groups, because they had one group for 25 guys, 1 day a week for 1 hour for 1,200 people. And I wrote the governor and almost went to lockup for the rest of my time for writing the governor and saying, if you don't want a recidivism rate, you know, the way that you keep getting it, you got to do something about it.
Right.
And it was the first time and only time I ever met the warden, because you never really meet the warden when you're in prison. But I was threatened to be put on lockup for the rest of my sentence. But I was given...
For what? Just for
writing the
letter?
governor. Who the hell am I to write the governor?
Really?
Absolutely, buddy.
Interesting.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Wow.
So, you know, he basically said, you've got some more groups. So I was given the task of, from the Commissioner of Corrections, of being able to make 5 groups. And I did. I judge myself through my accomplishments. Since I had felonies as a juvenile, nobody was going to hire me for jobs. I got my GED the first time I went to prison. The second time I went to prison, I quit smoking cigarettes. The third time, I quit drinking. So the fourth time, I said, the only thing I have left are these drugs. And I was smoking crack. And I was around when crack started.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, movies.
And for people who don't know, I mean, we just throw crack is basically kind of like smoking cocaine, right?
That's what it is, exactly. Yeah. You take cocaine and baking soda, soda, and you mix it up, and it hardens, and you break it. All you're doing is smoking cocaine.
So, not to digress, but this stuff's very interesting to me. What is the difference in the high than snorting it? Is it different? Is it a better high?
When you snort it, it depends on the potency of it.
Sure.
You almost have to look for the high. You know, unless it's really potent, and then you feel a little jittery. But when you smoke it, you are hit within seconds of consuming it, and you are just out.
That's why
you are out.
It's got such a powerful pull.
Right. Oh, I used to shoot it.
Yeah, that's
and everything.
Say,
you know,
right?
speedballing was heroin and cocaine mixed.
Okay.
That way you didn't get too high up from the coke or too low from the heroin.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then it was freebasing, it was called. You took non-detergent ammonia, and I would make this shit. I had the brains to make it, and you put it in a test tube, and you put it underneath warm water, and the actual cocaine dropped to the bottom of the test tube in a little gel, and it was pure cocaine. Then you smoked it.
Wow. What do you think about? I mean, you've been off drugs for a long time now, and you know, again, I not to digress, but this is interesting stuff because it does all tie into what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
What do you think about fentanyl? Isn't that just crazy stuff?
I'm scared to death.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Bellingham 11 years ago, I had never done crystal meth. I was clean and everything, but I'm to the point now where if I try a new drug, You know, I'm not afraid I'm going to go into this spiraling abyss of darkness and
You've been
just
far enough
start going,
removed
you know,
that, yeah.
1991 is when I quit, you know, so I've had plenty of space in between then for it not to consume me. And what I did was I snorted some crystal meth. I thought it was going to burn my nose off my face, man, you know, and then I was up tweaking all night long. I had bought
That stuff
some.
lasts a long time, I understand.
I had bought some from this guy, and he said, "Here, you want a free bump?" And I said, "Sure, I'll try it." So I snorted. I did that one little bump he gave me. Then he came back the next day to get a tattoo. I said, "Here, man, you want to buy some?" I sold the meth that he gave me.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm never doing it.
Good for
No
you.
fucking way, man. You
Good
know
for
what I
you.
mean? It's just not me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I did take ecstasy
Yeah.
about 12, 13 years ago. Now, that shit was to me, was lovely, man. You know what I mean?
Well, if it's the MDMA in it that does it, and then
Which
they
is
cut it
actually
with
meth.
They cut it with ephedrine. Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just know that psychiatrists sometimes use it for couples and stuff.
The sex is
I've done
incredible,
ecstasy.
man.
I've done
you know?
MDMA. Yeah, it's
And
great.
I had a tattoo shop and a lot of freaky girls.
Sure.
Since I'm not from here, I'm going to say 70% of my clientele for tattoos were dark complected. I came out here, I didn't see any black people.
It's pretty
and
white
it was
out
so weird.
It's pretty white out here.
And all they did was listen to rap music out there, and there's no rap music out here.
Yeah.
I mean, this bullshit gritty rap.
Yeah.
So, being as old as I am, I watched it. I watched it grow, and I look for patterns on anything in life. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I watched the patterns.
Pattern recognition.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then you had hip hop, and then you had basically rap. And people are messed up today when they don't realize that the first true rap song was done by a white girl, Blondie. She had the song called Rap Sure, and she started rapping. And that was really the first rap song that came out. But you can't tell the black people that, you know, bullshit, you know. They had different groups that were trying to, you know, bring it about and whatnot. But then you had thug rap.
Yeah, gangster rap.
Tupac, gangster rap, thug rap. Shorty Want to Be a Thug. I used to listen to Tupac all the time. It was gritty.
Biggie,
it was hard.
Biggie
you
and
know?
Tupac were huge in the mid-90s.
But then I also see the patterns. And after a while, all of it had one theme, and it was murder.
Yeah.
It was all about 187. That's
Money,
the federal
sex,
code.
and murder. Yep.
Not even money and sex anymore, because they were murdering each other because of the sex.
Well, that's that gang aspect of it, though, too. You know, the Crips and the Bloods, and Tupac, who really was just an actor.
Yeah, he was an actor
Claimed to be,
and whatnot,
at one point,
you
I
know?
think, part of the Crips or the Bloods, or I can't remember which one. But
Right.
And that's where that whole thing came. And a lot of these hip-hop artists, rap artists, whatever you gang, they're fake as hell.
Right.
Right. There are some that have had some roots that have come from where they've come from, but
Sure.
for the most part, they're just entertainers.
Yeah.
And we bought, especially us white dudes, you know, the white people bought, I think white people bought more rap than black people did, I swear, because we wanted to be cool and wow, this stuff's, you know, I want to be hip. And anyway,
There are a few that don't just strictly talk about murder.
yeah.
But the fans brought it in. And I watch, my favorite show is The First 48 Hours. You know what that's about?
Yeah.
It's all about murder, but it's real. And if you look at it and you watch episodes, it's like 8 to 9 out of 10 episodes is a young black male under the age of 23 that kills another young black male under the age of 23. for recognition.
Sounds like Chicago.
For stealing, but they don't have a problem because they singing songs about killing each other
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
They've accepted it,
Yeah.
and it's not like a death wish.
It's part
a
of
murder
it's
wish.
become part of the culture.
Correct.
And I'm not trying to stereotype. I'm just and look, I watch several black podcasters, conservative black podcasters, like Officer Brandon Tatum. I love that guy.
Right.
He's great.
Tatum's a
He'll
good
the
dude.
first one to tell you, dude. It's true, man.
It's
Nobody
true.
kills black people more than black people. And he often stands up against all this
Now the
white
Hodge
racist stuff.
twins.
Love those guys too.
Well,
Hodge twins. They're comedians.
recently, they're comedians.
Well, and that's all part of their comedic shtick, But I mean, they've really come up because they started out just making fun of everything.
Right.
Now they're
getting into some serious shit.
Right, doing articles and stuff.
But because of the fact that I went to prison, did drugs, and all my drugs came from black people. There wasn't any white people selling drugs and whatnot. I watched the patterns of things like crack when it first came out. Basketball star from Maryland named Lynn Bias had smoked some and died. And then I watched Congress sit down and say, okay, if you get caught selling crack, you can get 10 times more time than selling cocaine, on its weight-wise. And then I watched George Bush Sr. sit in front of a television show with this big bag of crack and say, this is crack, and I just bought it across the street, in Washington, D.C. That's where I would go to buy crack, 14th and U.
It seems to me that it was the white people were doing coke and the black people kind of invented crack.
Well, we invented that shit, but it's the crack that was highly addictive. You needed more right there.
Yeah.
As soon as you breathed out, you're like, where's my next one?
No.
While your head is even so far up your ass, you have no clue where you're at. You're like, where's the next one?
Dang.
What I do is I'd say as an example is I had a hole right here. It was empty. And smoking crack didn't fill that hole, but it got me so fucked up I didn't think about it. Because once I came back down, I was empty again.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt.
Oh, that's drugs in general.
You know what I'm saying? I was just empty as can be.
That's why it's such a draw, is it temporarily takes away all your pain. And then once you've done it, you come down. It's like I had a buddy who was a heroin addict. Right. And I said, what, I mean, what's it like? Because I've taken Percocet and stuff like that. I said, is it like that? He goes, oh, dude, it's like, he goes, that's what he said. He says, it's like having an orgasm for 4 hours. Yeah. He says, it's like, you're just like, your eyes roll back in your head and you're just like,
you're just out of it.
Yeah.
Completely out of it.
And I was like,
that's why I had the speedball. That's why I had to add cocaine to it so that I didn't just lay out like that.
Gosh, that's got to be hard
I would stay up
on
and
you.
pay attention, but I was just there.
So
after a while, I noticed that no white people were selling crack. No black people were flying airplanes with cocaine over to here. You know what I'm saying? So the black people were the ones that were really suffering through this. I watched the mayor of Washington, D.C., Marion Barry, sit there and smoke crack. You set me up, bitch. See, I remember all these things because I've seen them. I watched Richard Nixon say, I am not a crook. And I watched Bill Clinton say, I did not have sex with that young lady. I remember all these things, and these are all part of the pattern. Mm-hmm. And then I watched Barack Obama become president. If you look it up, all the presidents up back to all the way to Nixon, they were all governors of states. Mm. And they governed a state in some way so that they were basically met the eligibility to govern the country, next step up. But Barack Obama wasn't. He
Nope.
was not, neither was Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is a real estate mogul, and he
a
had to
businessman.
govern. He governed that aspect of it.
Barack
And-
Obama was a community organizer.
Yeah.
That was his job, which is just like this new mayor of Seattle. I don't even think she's had a job ever.
Like a coffee barista
Yeah,
or something.
and so
AOC.
that's what we need. That's why Trump has been so appealing, is because he knows how to run a business. He knows how to get things done. He knows how to negotiate.
Right.
These people don't. And they get into these positions and all of a sudden they think they're dictators.
Islam is a religion of submission. You have to submit to Islam. That's how they feel. If you can answer certain things out of the Quran or whatever, you've submitted. You got to pray 5 times a day. They don't like music, things that take your mind off of Islam. They don't like music. The women and whatnot are completely oppressed. And it is a religion of submission. And I couldn't fully submit into it. I went to meetings, I got on my knees, I prayed when I was supposed to. But in prison, Islam is more of a clique, a gang, if anything. But it's needed amongst the black community, especially the fatherless community, because they didn't have anybody that would discipline them. And they looked toward Islam as a discipline. I looked toward Islam as a higher power. I needed discipline. I didn't have a dad. I wasn't going to listen to my mom or anybody else. That's why I kept getting locked up. I got felonies when I was very young, so I wasn't allowed to vote. I wasn't allowed to own guns or anything. But all the felonies were stealing and drugs, possession, distribution. I got 5 years for selling 5 hits of acid. Now, 5 hits of acid is a misdemeanor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, in Bellingham,
but they'll
they
say,
just-
hey, it's still a felony. You can't own a gun and, this and that. Well, Bill Clinton said, well, if you are cool for 5 years, you can vote. That type of thing. Allowed to do that. I was a Democrat when Bill Clinton was around. I was like, yeah, this is cool shit. I got my GED in prison. Then when I got out of prison, I got a little Pell Grant and took a couple of classes, Business Management and Business Administration 101. So I've owned my own businesses all my life because nobody would hire me when I was young. They'll do it now because, it depends on what your felonies are. Mm-hmm. And again, my felonies back then are not even felonies now. Theft over 300 was a felony.
No, you'll get catch and
what I'm
release
saying?
in Bellingham.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, the times have changed.
Not necessarily for the better, but yeah.
Well, due to the fact that I went to prison, I do tattoos, I'm in the black community, I'm buying drugs from them and whatnot. All the black girls love me and whatnot. I was one of those white boys that could call you a nigga.
Mm-hmm, right.
You're my motherfucking nigga, yo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how I used to talk.
Yeah.
And I watched all around me. I was always aware of what was going on around me because no matter how much respect I would get, I could always get robbed. I could always get killed. I could always get beat up because black people were just as racist as anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I owned a tattoo parlor. I've owned 3 at one time. And I would do tattoo parties because a lot of the black people couldn't even afford the minimum cost of a tattoo. And so I would go into the hood, straight up projects, because they have projects out there, not anything like this place. And it would be ran by women. Women would have these parties, and I would sit there, and I've got a list somewhere in my storage where I served 45 people in one night. And I would tell other artists that worked for me at the shops, you're coming with me. They literally cried, no, I can't go, I can't go. Because they were scared to death to go up in the hood. But these girls were not going to let anything happen to me. I would do these tattoos and literally walk out the door with $1,200 in cash or better, and nobody would mess with me. I'd get in my car and go. And then the next morning, I'd find out that just a block over, a 15-year-old was killed for his tennis shoes. You know what I mean?
And this is in the Washington, D.C.
This is in the D.C., this is Maryland and whatnot. I mean, if you want to look up Baltimore, I mean, our president just called Baltimore a hellhole, because it is. But I had that respect.
Right.
I had that recognition, that credit,
cred,
you know.
yeah.
And I didn't have to run around shooting anybody, body counts and all that crap. I was old enough and mature enough to be able to talk to these people. And a lot of them invested in me, you know, just like Jeff says, I found an investor and whatnot. That's what they would come and they would want to invest in me because they see the progress that I make. So I watched Barack Obama become president. And I'm like, who the hell is Barack Obama?
That's what everybody wanted to
You know what I mean? Why should he be president? And it was obvious because of the color of his skin.
Yeah.
Barack Obama has an Islamic background. Do you know what a eunuch is?
Mm-hmm.
Eunuchs have ran countries like China. China when back in their empire days or whatnot, they had eunuchs that would guard their harems, and they weren't afraid of them having sex, but they were men. They would do all their paperwork. They were logical, this and that, but they were very submissive.
That goes back into Greece and Rome times.
Yeah,
even.
they were very submissive. Yeah. And this is what I think is what the government during Barack Obama's time is trying to do, is create eunuchs.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, same-sex marriage. Homosexuals don't reproduce. They recruit. I watched Gillette Razor Company get up and say, toxic masculinity is terrible. I watched the Boy Scouts. At first, you couldn't be gay and be a scoutmaster. I remember that. Then I watched, okay, now gay men can be scoutmasters. And very quickly, it went from the Boy Scouts, well, now we're going to have girls in the Boy Scouts. Now it's not Boy Scouts anymore. It's just Scouts, you know.
Right.
Take the boys out of the Scouts. And then transgender. What the fuck is a transgender, man? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think anybody knows to this day still.
To this day, still. But I watched a thing where the governor of North Carolina, when they started the same-sex bathroom thing in schools, got them when they're young. And the governor of North Carolina said, what the hell is a transgender? And Barack Obama said, this is what a transgender is, and you're going to abide by it, or I'm not giving you any funding for your schools. They submitted to it. Oh, well, whatever, you know, and let them do it. I watched Bill Clinton say, don't ask, don't tell. And then it just started when Barack Obama became president, and all of a sudden now you have officers in dresses.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's the guy that said it. He said, we are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming America. That fundamental transformation was the doorway to today's wokeism.
Right.
And here we are. And are things better? No. Things are exponentially worse.
With Barack Obama's background with Islam.
Yeah, let's get into that a little bit.
He basically was thinking, this is easy pickings.
Interesting.
So you have same-sex marriage, and then you have Well, we want you to make us a cake. No, I won't. We're going to sue you for not making us a wedding cake. We're going to sue this church for not having a same-sex marriage and whatnot. But there is no such thing as a same-sex marriage in the mosque. The mosque is not a church. Well, the word church is strictly for Christians.
Mm-hmm.
But the mosque is not like this religious place that you go and you hear someone speak about Allah, this and that. You go there, you pray, and then you start talking about the social aspect of life. Sharia law, they have Sharia law courts there and whatnot. And it's easy pickings for Islam to basically take over if you're dealing with eunuchs.
So basically, yeah, these emasculated men, which I'm sorry, I mean, not to be political, but let's call it what it is. I mean, it heavily leans on the Democrat liberal side of things. We call them soy boys, you know,
Soy
the
boys.
woke beta cuck kind of.
That's what I say.
And
I call it a cuck culture.
right, the opposite of your toxic masculinity, which is just basically them revolting against you being a good, normal man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. So to tie into a little bit, let's get into that a little bit about Barack Obama and how he knew his Islamic background and how this is easy pickings and the structure, how it works and how they infiltrate and that kind of thing.
You're seeing more politicians come in, like Ilhan Omar and others. Now you've got a lot of mayors. So I watched London.
Oh, it's getting bad over there.
Angela Merkel of Germany really started the whole thing. President Trump wouldn't even shake her hand because he despises her so much because of what she's done. And she opened up the gates for anybody like what Biden did for globalism. They want a globalist society, everybody the same, and they want it to be in an Islamic based ideology because everybody will submit.
Well, because it's suitable for the structure of Islam, right? Because it's a political system more than it's a religious system.
And if you can get into the different governments and whatnot and their structures and put the Islamic ideas into it, you can. No government for real wants a lot of strong, smart people because they can't submit
rule
them. They can't take over that way. You know,
that's why they want to
resistance.
That's why they want to take away our guns. A society that can't fight back is a society that is obedient.
You know, and they're trying through the different ideas of Islam, the different sects, the different tribes and all that, to come up with something that we can all be happy with. And they're trying to convince women that it's not oppressive, that it's a beautiful thing, the religion of peace and whatnot. And it's all bullshit, you know, to have you submit to these things. You got Mamdani. Now he's the mayor of New York. He got inaugurated and put his hand on the Quran.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he put his hand on the Quran, which was on top of a Bible.
Wow.
They held the Bible, put the Quran there, and he put his hand on the Quran. And then it did what they call taqiyya. Taqiyya is the Allah's permission for you to lie. It used to be you can lie to protect yourself from aggressive. Oh, you're a Muslim, I'm going to kill you. No, I'm not a Muslim. God knows the truth. Allah knows the truth. So he knows I'm lying to protect myself. Now it's for the betterment of Islam. I can lie for the betterment of Islam. just like all the books that have been written, things change. People read these books, and it's up to them on how they understand it and how it should be. You got when you talk about extreme Islam. Oh, he was an extremist. He was a radical or whatnot. He wasn't radical. He wasn't extreme. He was a normal Muslim because that's what he was taught. The guy from Bellingham, the
Oh,
Muslim from Bellingham,
Yeah.
went all the way to Washington, D.C. to kill somebody, yelling, Allah Akbar. We're going to go before that. We're going to go to Burlington, Washington. Arkan Seaton. Arkan Seaton was a Muslim who walked into the Cascade Mall.
Oh, yeah.
And he killed 6 people, 5 women and 1 man. The media said, oh, he was having problems with his girl and he was yelling her name. Well, her name was not Allah Akbar.
Wow. That was a
And
while
he
ago.
killed
I remember
5
that.
women on purpose.
Wow.
He was not allowed to own a firearm. He had already been in front of a judge. His father was a diplomat from like Turkey. And I think he pulled a Jeffrey Epstein. Prison, the wardens, is the perfect place to die and disappear. Because, you know, if the warden says, okay, you're going to go down and transfer that guy from the cell out, and then he gets in the hands of FBI, CIA, whoever's in charge of things, he's in Turkey. And
So
we would
is-
never know this, but they said he hung himself.
Oh, okay. See, I don't remember. It's been so long. So
Yeah,
that's what
they said
what
he
the
hung
story
himself.
was.
He shot these people with a .22 and literally walked home. And his parents had to convince somebody to come and get him. Otherwise, they had no clue who this guy was or anything. So he got locked up, and supposedly he hung himself. Now, these wardens, they have pretty good power. They have power over everything that happens there. And at 2 a.m., you only have a certain amount of people that are working. And if you have instructions for one guy to come out of his cell at 2 a.m. to go down to the nurse's office, but instead they go down another way, they can easily say, hey, he hung himself. And he could be in Turkey right now. And that's reality. It really is, because I've been in prison long enough to know that is reality.
And he's just being recycled for the next.
He's in Turkey with his dad.
Wow.
You know, they can leave. We would never go unless we said, you know, maybe there's something up and let's go investigate or whatever. Bin Laden, Osama bin Laden. Oh, we captured him, but we killed him. And we had to take due to Muslim rituals, we had to bury his body at sea at 3 o'clock in the morning while nobody was watching. You understand? These are the patterns that I see.
I'm catching what you're saying.
You know what I'm
now.
saying?
And
then you got AI. One picture of here's the dead Osama bin Laden. We shot him. There he is with these bullet holes. But then they show another picture, the exact same picture without bullet holes. Now you got bullet holes. And I saw one of those today. Maduro's wife. Supposedly she got beat up, whatever, and she had this bandage over her eye. Well, from what I saw from court sketches, she had blonde or gray hair. Well, this woman had dark hair. She had a black eye, but the bandage, her hair had come down like this, and the bandage was over the hair. As a tattoo artist, I look for detail. Nobody puts bandages over the hair. They would lift their hair up and they'd put it over like that.
Yeah.
It was over the hair.
Yeah.
And I made the comment, this is
Interesting.
AI. You never put a bandage over the hairline.
Wow.
The drug boats.
Oh,
Boom, here we go. We see a boat getting blown up. Oh my God, they killed these people, man. They're just murderers, killing them. Well, who took that picture? Was CNN out in the middle of the ocean, man, when this boat got blown up? Okay. Was it a military aircraft or somebody on an ultralight? Who knows? Okay, let's say it's military aircraft. Fine. It's got a camera on it. Fine. The military aircraft comes down and it blows up a boat in the middle of the ocean. Who's going to see that film? It's classified information, man. It wasn't an admiral on an aircraft carrier say, oh, look, here's the picture of the boat. Let's send it out to CNN real quick. Nobody sees that. And for real, if they really blew people up, you wouldn't know anything about it. Nothing.
So you're saying that there's potentially a propaganda war going on here with AI, that they're not even really blowing up these boats, but they're just doing it.
Giving you and me a reason to go and get the guy.
And it's scaring the crap out of
drug dealers.
The cartels.
Nobody wants to
That
go.
is brilliant.
Nobody wants to go.
Let's think about this for a second. So let me say let me grasp what you're saying here. The left is complaining about Trump blowing up cartel supposed drug dealers, but they're innocent because the boat blew it up, but they're still alive. You shouldn't just kill these people now. But you're saying it's like, how do you know that that's actually even a real?
Look at these boats. Okay, they're not warships or anything.
Right.
And the A-10 comes in and burps them. They're gone, man. There's no survivors, none. And you don't double tap two guys floating in the water somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
So Trump doesn't even need to actually do it. He just needs to create the perception
that it's being done.
And the cartels shit themselves.
When I was in prison the last time, I was president of the JCs. We wrote a crime prevention manual. A crime prevention manual that was written by burglars, convicted burglars. Say, I look for this. I look for that. Now, if you want to stop me from going into your home, do this, do that. I actually had a friend of mine who's dead now, would get up and be the only inmate that could be on the telephone at the time. And he would call a radio station, collect. And they would say, talk to the burglar. And these old ladies would call the radio station. I live in a cul-de-sac. What can I do? A cul-de-sac is the easiest place for me to see because I go around. I can see all different angles of your house. And I'm going to probably enter your garage because you don't have an alarm on it. And then I'll come through the door in there because you probably don't have an alarm on it. You know what I'm saying? And don't grow the bushes so high up by your window where I can stand up and undo your window and nobody sees me. Even if you don't have a dog, put a big dog bowl out there so people think you do. I believe in crime prevention versus law enforcement. If you do a couple steps, it'll stop people from doing things to you. And that's what I think this drug boat thing is the AI. And it tested the waters. Okay, we're going to make people think we kill these people. And let's see how far the liberals take it. And let's see what the drug dealers do. And then when we go in to get Maduro, that's our reason.
Michael, that is a fascinating theory.
These are the patterns that I see in Trump.
Because he's a chess player, and what a chess move that would be. That this is, and we're never going to know,
right?
But he knows, and he's not murdering
I like
people.
Chess.
Well, it's like I'm sitting here processing what you're saying, going, we don't know where those videos are from. They're made to look like a military black and white night vision kind of video.
Who filmed them?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
They're going to say it's a drone. It's probably
Okay.
a military drone. It's a
Right.
drone strike, military drone strike, and
And,
that's that camera. And you can fake. I can do AI. Say, make me a video that looks like it's from a military drone
we can play video
blowing
games
up.
that have the same
In
shit.
fact, I'm going to do that.
You
I'm
know?
going to see if I can recreate one of those videos.
I'm telling you,
Wow. We've
I
digressed somewhere.
I play little video games with submarines blowing up ships. They're very realistic
Oh,
looking.
it's crazy what you
You
can
know
do
what
with
I'm
AI
saying?
now.
And now okay, the drone videos, who sees it? One guy, the drone
Right.
operator. And anything he sees is classified. He can't say nothing to anybody. He can't do
Well,
nothing.
yeah, him and
You know?
his control
And-
group that he's
Right.
with, but yeah,
And
yeah.
then they say, well, Pete Hegseth gave the order to double tap. Come on, man. He's the Secretary of War, man. Do you think a drone operator, we hit this boat, and then his commander says, but we have a couple. Let's call the Secretary of
Yeah,
War
it's the general
over
would have-
two
yeah.
guys floating in the middle of the
Right,
ocean where
right.
if you deleted the film, nobody would ever fucking know.
That is interesting. It's like, yeah, wow. Okay, let's
It's
think about
all
this.
about the perception.
The fact that they even put that out there means that they're doing sort of it's a smoke and mirrors.
Right. Where if the liberals actually got into it, they would eventually say, we just made it up, man. We're not killers. We're not murderers. I mean, and for real, they're better off if they really want to do something, catching them and then filming us taking the shit off the boat.
Yeah, the fact that they would show the double tap, what that says to me is Trump is showing the cartels that we can be just as ruthless,
Right.
if not more. And then going in and doing what they did with Maduro, like they did, that operation was as sharp as a knife, man. It came in and that was one of the most amazing military operations that we've done so far. And he
Nobody
set
got
it up.
hurt. And,
I
it was
know.
total precision. But,
Wow.
believe it or not, we learned that shit from Israel.
Yeah.
They are very good at that.
Yeah.
Very good at it.
Yeah.
I want to get back.
Yeah.
I want to get back to Obama.
Yeah.
Biden was vice president with Obama. And basically, he did nothing. He said nothing. He just went
He's a
along
puppet.
with what's going on and whatnot.
He's a puppet. Yeah.
And then when he became president, the guy's on the telephone every day. Hey, Barack, what do I do? Hey, Barack, what do I do? June 6, 1944. 125,000 American, British, and Allied forces land on the beaches of France. It's the D-Day invasion. June 6, 2020. 125,000 terrorists, criminals, and illegals land on the border of America every day. It's just immigration.
That is an interesting way to put it.
It's just immigration.
No, it's an invasion. I'm seeing how that all ties into the Islamic invasion.
And then the Democrats are all part of this crap.
Yeah.
They went, Obama was a Democrat, and then you have these socialists, Bernie Sanders and whatnot. He calls himself, just like Mondami, the mayor of New York, we are democratic socialists.
Yeah.
There is no such thing. You do not have any democracy in socialism.
No.
None.
No.
And
Well,
it's
we're-
all a
we're-
fake thing. And then these sanctuary states, when they first they were sanctuary cities, and I was like, what the hell is going on with these sanctuary cities? Well, it's where law enforcement and municipal employees are not allowed to inquire about your immigration status. What does that mean? That means when an illegal is arrested, you can't ask him, are you an illegal? So if we look on the statistics of the crime that's going on, There's no illegals on there. 100 arrests, no illegals. Where
can't say
probably
it.
60 of them were illegals.
Right.
But they can't put it down there.
Can't say it.
Municipal employees, who are these people? They're the ones who deal with like DSHS and whatnot. And they go in, illegals come in, they say, I want, benefits, I need food, I need housing, I need, money or whatever. And they automatically register to vote. What's the first question on the registration to vote? Are you an American citizen? They are not allowed to ask. They automatically get a ballot.
Yep.
The Maryland man, Garcia, and
Yeah.
remember the Democrat, Van Hollen, when, he was arrested and they keep saying he's an MS-13 guy, this and that. No. This guy, Garcia, is a ballot harvester. He went around and collected all the ballots for the illegals and then dropped them in the mailbox.
Interesting.
Mail-in voting with no ID required compromises the entire system. And then Trump, before he became president, Jay Inslee said, now Washington is a sanctuary state. And then Joe Biden, when he became president, said, America is a sanctuary country. And it just,
Wow.
they just want to bring it. And who are these people that are coming in? Whoever they're coming in, I don't care how bad they are. I don't care how crazy they are. I don't care what terrorists they are. They're going to vote Democrat.
Yeah. Of course.
Every fucking one of them.
Yep. Well, and that's the whole part of the plan. And it is an
Exactly.
invasion. It is to get votes. And everybody seems to think, a lot of times it's, well, you're picking on Mexicans. No. We've got Somalians, which we'll get into that. That's all over the news right now. You've got Afghanis, you've got Venezuelans, you've got Mexicans, you've got Chinese, you've got Croatian, you've got all kinds of, they're picking up all kinds of different, basically, when Biden said the border's wide open, it gave permission or it sent up a bat light in the sky to say to all criminal elements out there, come to America.
That's what Maduro did.
Set up shop.
Maduro emptied his prisons and sent them all here.
Yeah.
And they just walked across the border.
Yeah.
Mayorkas handed them checks.
Yep.
They came to Washington or wherever and got housing and everything else. Then they raped and killed, and they're not illegals.
That's what your Democrat vote got.
That's
you,
what they're
ladies and
doing, man.
gentlemen.
These Democrats. And if you really think about it, we had a civil war in the Confederacy. They were Democrats.
They were, yeah.
And that's where the Republican Party first started.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, we need to free these slaves. And these Democrats fought to the death to keep slavery.
And it's a modern day version of it now with let's open the borders.
Again,
let's let all these little plebes come in.
and
We'll
nobody's going
control
to do
them
anything
like
about
slaves.
it because we turned them all into eunuchs.
We'll control them like beta cuck eunuch slaves.
That's right.
Wow.
And no, they're going to control us like that by calling us all racist, by saying white people are the problem, white supremacy is the problem. I watched the black guy who was in charge of the military when Biden was president get up and say, my number one priority is white supremacy.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I can't remember his name.
We're the ones with the guns, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's why they want to take them away. And these Democrats in Bellingham, I debate with all the time. Oh, they don't want to take your guns. These people are so clueless how much of their freedom is being undermined by the very people they're voting for. It's insane. I'm going to do a podcast on that, by the way. It's funny you brought up the whole immigration thing because I'm going to be doing one on because people say, oh, they can't vote. Well, all you need to vote is a driver's license, which they hand out like Pez,
Mm-hmm.
and an address.
The Islamic idea of what's going on is just a part of the pattern. It's just a part of it. You have some that say, throw them from the highest point. That's in the Quran. Throw them from the highest point. And then you have gays that say, free Palestine, when I've seen it. I've seen them. I'm an avid YouTube watcher. And I mean, I go down and every now and then, boom, even though they hit me with the algorithms, I try to get away from it by, hitting different things and whatnot so it can take
Mix
it
it
off.
up.
So
Yeah.
I've seen them take people, throw them off buildings, and all these people, like in Palestine or whatever, they're standing there with their telephones. And they're all going, You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That's what I see. I don't watch the guy falling. He's falling. I watch around all the people. There's hundreds of people standing there going,
Wow.
Yay. This is the mentality.
Dang. Yeah. So we've kind of touched on how we've gone from the Obama administration, how Islam, the background, the roots of Islam has influenced this sort of geopolitical socialist movement that really is more like building a form of slavery, creating eunuchs, creating what we call beta cucks,
Right?
soft people. Give us your weapons.
People
We'll
who
take care
aren't
of you.
going to resist.
Aren't going to resist. Yeah.
People who are going to submit.
So let's talk about real quick the different sects of Islam. For example, there's Sunni and there's Shia. What's
Yeah.
the difference in?
It's like reading the Old Testament and the New Testament. You've got one Bible, but two versions. And the Old Testament is basically Jewish. And then the
Talmud.
New Testament is
Or
Christian.
the Torah, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah. And the New Testament is Christian.
Mm-hmm.
You only have one Quran. But today, if you try to read it in like the English version and whatnot, words change. One of the big ones for me is Quran 8:12. And it said, Allah says, I have power and I have your back. Strike terror, and that's what they say, terror into the hearts of the unbelievers. Cut off their heads and their hands. Now, whatever that's supposed to mean is what it means. But if you look at the English version, it says strike fear. Whereas we call them terrorists. We don't call them fearists. It changes the whole aspect of what's really going on.
So let's real quick. I want to jump in because that's interesting you say that, because so you almost have the more orthodox hardliners that take it literally, and then you have the more liberal aspect that takes it more
Sunni
metaphorically.
are the more peaceful ones.
They're more metaphorical because ISIS is literally doing that. They're chopping off the heads.
Yeah. And they've been doing it since the beginning of the Quran. The Shiites have been doing it. In Sharia law, if you're a Sunni, you do something wrong and you might get lashed. But as a Shiite, you do something wrong, the same thing, you can get your hands cut off. You know what I mean? They have a different way of doing things. Like Saudi Arabia just recently, in the last 10, 15 years, allowed women to have driver's licenses. Even though they are the more peaceful ones, they still see women,
Sure.
Because in the Quran it says you're supposed to cover them. a woman, she's only to be seen through her eyes and the palms of her hands.
That doesn't fly in today's American
Yeah,
modern woman.
but the Sunnis, they wear hijabs, but the Shiites make you wear burqas.
But it's funny to me, again, if I could jump in just on that, how you get these liberal American women, pro-Palestine, pro-Muslim, pro-Islam, yet when they really understand it, it's diametrically opposed to everything they believe in.
Muslims are absolute misogynists. They are absolute misogynists.
To its truest form.
You know, and women are nothing but productions.
Right.
You produce, that's it. Let's talk about abortion. The Democrats push the abortion thing, you know. You should get an abortion. Well, only Americans get abortions in America. No woman comes from another country to come to America to have an abortion. They want that baby. They want
It's
that
a very
baby
American
'cause,
thing.
You
Yeah.
know, they want that baby
Well, it's
because
survival
it's going to
still.
make them a citizen.
Yeah.
They want that baby because they're going to get benefits. They want that baby for all the reasons in the world because they were born to want that baby.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Democrats say, no, you should get an abortion. Who? Blacks and whites. That's it, man. That's it. And so
Well, especially in the black, it's very high.
You're taking the homosexuals that don't reproduce, and you're taking the women that get abortions. You're not producing like they are. They are producing more and more and more and more while we're killing each other.
Yep. Our numbers are being reduced while their numbers are increasing.
Absolutely.
That's something that I don't think most Americans grasp is there's a war, a whole different kind of war going on right now. And it's a population war.
Right.
Their tribe against ours.
You know?
And we're losing because abortion is a very left-wing liberal American thing. It is not.
You're not going to other
typical
countries and doing now, and maybe in Europe, you know, that
well,
that type
Europe.
of
I
thing.
mean, even Israel has abortion now, but in the majority population of the world, that's not a prominent thing.
Right.
Yeah, because it is survival a lot of times.
Islam has martyrdom. It's in the Quran that you kill these people. You befriend unbelievers, and they can be any color. As long as they don't believe in Islam, they are unbelievers. You know what I'm saying? And in martyrdom, like I was saying, it's like the Vikings. Vikings believed that they couldn't go to heaven, Valhalla, unless they did it in battle. They were fighting. They were killing the enemy. It's the same thing with Islam. You're not going to make it to heaven unless you die in battle, unless you die killing the enemy.
Or in a jihad, which
that's jihad.
And there's different. Explain a little bit about jihad.
When a guy blows himself up, that's what it is. Jihad is the same thing as the Vikings going out and killing. They blow themselves up and they don't care. They are martyrs. Back in like the 60s in Lebanon, you know, before, right after Israel was created after the 40s, you had the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the PLO, Yasser Arafat. That's where you get those white and checkered things. You know, that's what he used to wear all the time. That was the symbol of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO. And they would have places, mosques, where you have whole walls of pictures of people that created martyrdom. They went out and killed themselves in the name of Allah, and people would pray to them. Oh my God, my son. You know, my son is such a wonderful thing. You know, that's how they have their women thinking, you know. That,
and in this jihad, So if I understand it, that's obviously when you die a martyr and you go to heaven and get 70 virgins that magically stay virgins forever and reproduce as virgins, or
72.
72. Okay. I mean,
72 freaking virgins, bro. I couldn't handle one. A virgin, man.
well, one
You don't
woman.
know what the hell's going on. You know what I'm saying, man?
Well, as a
The
Christian,
sex life sucks.
yeah, as a Christian theology, the difference is we obviously believe in God, Jesus, and then the devil. The difference between our religions is our religion, you die to yourself. Jesus came and paid the penalty, died for our sins, but you die daily. Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. He didn't say you're going to get screwed by 70 virgins. That's how I know it's a demonic religion, is because the devil plays on people's physical needs and desires, where Christianity says, no, you need to put those away and deal with the spiritual aspect and give yourself to Christ. It doesn't play on, oh, well, you're going to get this. You're going to get to serve Jesus forever in heaven. You're not going to go get to 40 virgins or 72 virgins serving you. That's how, to me, I can tell it's a demonic religion, because it plays on the flesh. Anyway, I digress. But from a Christian theology, that's the difference between Islam and Christianity. Is Christianity is more of a selfless religion, where Islam is a martyr. It's a takeover and martyrdom.
Right. It's martyrdom.
Yeah.
And October 7th, when the Hamas went into Israel, Israel got sick of it, man. They took 250 some prisoners, kidnapped them, and returned 20, 0 women. And they like to go to music festivals, theaters. They did that in Russia. They went into a movie theater, did their thing, where people are actually, because they say music and that type of entertainment is haram, bad haram, which means just no good. Pictures, like when you see a Hamas flag, it has writing, no pictures. Bad haram. You can't draw a picture of Muhammad.
Right.
Bad haram. And to them, it's worth killing you for.
Well, it's a fatwa, right? Is that what it's called?
I think a fatwa is like a hit.
Right, but they'll put a hit out on you. They'll put a fatwa
They'll put a
on
fatwa
you. You
on
draw
you. That
Muhammad or
yeah,
do something they don't
they'll
like,
put
they'll
a
put a
fatwa
fatwa.
on.
Right.
It means kill them.
Right, which means
that's a
doing
hit.
this podcast, I might have a fatwa.
You might. You never know. Because we said certain words that's bad haram to them.
Well, and then the other word that's keeps coming up, as you said earlier, is this, if I say it right, taqiyya. Taqiyya, which basically means you can lie,
right,
and to further the cause of Islam. Then how can we trust Olan Ilmar or any of these Islams?
You can't. Ilhan Omar is a Trojan horse.
Oh, absolutely.
You cannot trust them.
Mandami.
The only way you can trust them is if you're a Muslim.
Wow.
Because then they say, well, you're allowed to do that.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? You can't
That's
trust them.
That's scary. So here's a religion that, Christianity says, no, it's not good to lie. Okay. There's no acceptance for it. There's no doorway, although God's grace covers you if, say, you have to lie to protect yourself or something, where theirs now is basically whatever it takes to further Islam, you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
Essentially is what it means. Now they're going to say, or there's those that would say, well, no, it's just to protect yourself. Well, what does that mean? That could mean I'm protecting myself as I infiltrate America.
That's it.
To take it over.
Protecting myself. Now, there's another one called jizya. Jizyah. Jizya. Jizya is a tax.
Mm.
A tax on
Democrats love
non-believers.
that.
Tax on non-believers
Mm.
in Islamic states. You pay jizya. If you don't pay jizya, we fight. That's what it says in the Quran. Now, what does that mean? That means if you are a non-believer in the Islamic State, you pay tax to be protected.
That's like the mafia.
You pay a
Straight
tax
thuggery.
to protect you. They don't do jizya anymore because they can't protect them. You know what I'm saying? The government can't protect you to keep getting the jizya from you because somebody will come in there and kill you, and the government won't have any control over it.
Well, that's an efficient system.
You know what?
Wow. Well, that's a big deal, and I don't want to just pass over that to Kia. Lying to
Kia.
Kia.
You can't believe them.
To further, right? I mean, we have. How did we get all these Islamic people in our government? Mostly because the conservatives, for the most part, who we don't want to come off as racist. We don't want to, so we give in, and we're like, okay, you're right.
Well,
let's allow it. And it's all coming from the Democrat side, but we give in because if we don't, we're racist. It's like, no, I'm not a racist. It's just like, take a close look at their religion.
All we have to do is look at the patterns of Europe, Australia.
Yep.
We just recently had that going on.
No, we can't do that.
And then what was their thing? We got to take away more guns. Well, what does that do about the stabbings? What does that do with the swords?
The trucks running over crowds.
Islam lives by the sword, not the gun.
Yeah.
They're going to find ways to kill you.
I know.
They'll blow you up. It doesn't matter. Airplanes, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
You know?
Axes, hatchets, whatever. I mean,
all these politicians, with the gun thing, they don't want us killing them.
Exactly.
So they want to keep the guns. The militia. So now we have, when Obama hits, the Democrats, they start turning everybody gay. When I was young, NFL, they were gladiators.
Right.
And, they were kick-ass dudes, man. They were badass, this and that. Well, then now here we go. I saw a television commercial with Colin Kaepernick, the ultimate cuck.
Mm-hmm.
He had a thing showing an NFL player in bondage, like he was a slave being sold at the market.
Yep, I remember that.
The NFL has the largest millionaire club in the world.
Yep.
They're all fucking millionaires.
Yep. And the NBA's right behind them.
Now they're wearing rainbow tags, got male cheerleaders that act like women. I mean, you had male cheerleaders. They were guys throwing girls around and stuff, and they're admirable to me because they're strong, they're coordinated, they're here to do the women spin and they're throwing them up, this and that. But the ones they got now, they act like women.
The eunuchs.
Absolutely.
It goes all the way back in history to eunuchs.
And then you have the field goal area where they have lettering, gay pride and don't be a racist and whatnot. You have a right to be a racist in America. What is racism? Racism is a thought. I don't like somebody because of the color of their skin. You have the right to think like that. All you want, man. But they pound it in your head that you don't. It's your actions that changes everything. You hang somebody because you chase them down, give them a beat down or whatever because of the color of their skin. Yeah, that's wrong. Now it's a crime.
Well, it goes along with my I always say, and I didn't coin this, but it's not what you say that makes you, it's what you do, which is why Trump is such a pariah to so many is he says so many things.
Uh-huh.
A lot of it's bullshit
But
just
then
to
he
get a
does
rise,
things.
but it's what he does,
Right.
right? It's what he actually does that defines him. And that's the thing is he's doing stuff that I agree with.
Yeah.
And
See,
he's
like I
defining
said,
his presidency.
I judge myself on my own accomplishments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I look at him and I look at his accomplishments, and it completely overrides any bullshit that might come out of his mouth.
Yeah.
He has the right to do that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
He's not hurting anybody.
Well, and that's the whole kindergarten mentality from the liberals is, oh, you need to be nice. We need to be nice. Well, what
But
is
it's-
nice? What is nice? And
but
what does
it's
nice get you?
It's
I mean, sometimes you have to be firm and you have to tell the truth. The truth and what's right isn't always nice. It doesn't come across as nice. I say when I do these podcasts and when I debate with people, I'm not here to be a jerk, but I'm not here to be nice either. I'm here to tell the truth. And the truth isn't always nice to those who don't agree with its premises. And truth is a constant, right? It remains true regardless of how you feel about it. It's still true. And I don't mean, personal truths like, you like chocolate, I like vanilla ice cream. That's your truth. That's you like Nike, I like Adidas. Okay. I'm talking universal truths,
correct.
right?
Well, that's where you see the patterns dealing with Europe and Australia. Angela Merkel, Germany.
Australia's
she's a
in
socialist.
trouble big time
She's
right
a
now.
socialist.
Yeah.
They're becoming socialist. And they're trying to create this global world order, the new world order.
Yep.
They're globalists. That everybody should be the same in their vision. So she allows all these people to come up into Germany. And I watched it. I watched it through YouTube when it was not censored so bad or whatever. I watched Muslims on the trains in Germany instructing other Muslims that when you see pregnant white women, harass them
Yeah.
so they have miscarriages.
Mm.
Every time you have like fireworks going on, they were shooting people. They were harassing women. They would gang harass women to freak them out, make them nervous, and they wouldn't have kids. I watched them run out of housing.
That's devious.
So they would let them stay in old castles, from the midnights or whatever, medieval knights and whatnot. And they would go into these castles and, there's a picture of a person. That's bad haram, and rip it apart. Anything with Jesus, rip it apart. Just destroying their history.
Interesting.
And
They're
now,
like a cancer.
they are a fucking cancer. And now when they start getting into the government, I'm going to use Sadiq Khan.
Sadiq Khan.
Sadiq Khan has been the mayor of London. London is the central center of European money, period.
Yeah. Yep. It is.
He's been the mayor of London. And in 10 years, all the churches have been burned. Mosques have popped up everywhere.
Oh, England's in big trouble.
He just says things like terrorism is just part of living in the big city. Okay? Well,
Wow.
Tokyo, Japan is the most populated city in the world. Zero terrorism because the Japanese don't put up with their shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Muslim, you want to come to Japan, they might let you in. If you do, your Quran is registered.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
They don't have stationary mosques. They have mobile mosques. They
Interesting.
come to you. Yeah, they don't put up with that bullshit, man. So this guy is Takia all the way. And then you see these things. What's the name, the most popular name for boys in London? Muhammad.
Really?
Look it up, man. But here's the thing. regular boys or whatever, they got Jim, John, Charles, whatever, Peter. But the Muslims name all their kids Muhammad.
Right.
So
After the prophet.
they have 4 wives and 12 boys. All 12 of their names are Muhammad. So it's going to be the most popular boy's name that way. You know what I'm saying? And France is completely fucked. I remember watching YouTube videos of Paris just filled with trash everywhere. Because these people just come in and they take advantage of everything, and they don't know anything about class. They don't know anything about, anything. And
They're like parasites.
they are. They're parasites. And what they've done is recently they broke into, in Paris, they broke into an area where they had all these jewels. But it was history. It was French history.
I remember
Bonaparte,
that.
all this,
Yeah.
owned it, and what just took it. It's gone. Their history's gone.
That's part of the Islamic religion, though.
And they
That
just
taking over.
the Taliban, when Osama bin Laden, he's from Saudi Arabia, went to Afghanistan and created the Taliban. They had these Buddhist statues. They were hundreds of feet tall, man. And they were painstakingly carved out on the side of a mountain, man. And they were carved out of solid stone, and they were absolutely beautiful. Taliban took over. They just took sledgehammers to them. Boom, boom, boom. Beat them up, tear them down, take away their history.
You know what that reminds me of? After the George Floyd riots
Yeah.
and all of our monuments being taken down.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter did
Yeah.
that bullshit. It's all a socialist thing.
It-
Take
it
away our
all
history.
seems to tie in.
Yeah, it's all part of the patterns. Like I said, now YouTube is a lot more censored
Yeah.
on what is happening. But bro, I've seen some crazy shit. I've seen some serious attitude changing things on YouTube, man. Not all about Muslims.
Sure.
I've seen IDF soldiers, the Israeli Defense Force. I've seen them do things that made me really sit back and say, is Israel really that good?
Well,
because they've done bad shit. But you know
and that's
what?
the thing right
they
now
are
is-
surrounded.
yeah.
Those
Yeah.
people are surrounded by
Yeah.
people that just want
Yep.
to kill them.
Yep.
If and people say stop helping Israel, we stop helping Israel. It's done. They're done.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is I support the Jewish people, and as a Christian, they are God's chosen people, and He is going to save them and redeem them someday. That's what my theology believes. The problem I have is with the corrupt government. Netanyahu is no more of a Jew or a chosen one of God's from the line of Abraham, Jacob, and
Right.
down. My understanding is from Poland. He had to change his name in the first place. He's a corrupt politician. The true people of Israel are not running the country right now. It's just like when Biden was running our country. You say, well, America's a Christian nation. He's a Christian. He says he's a Christian. No, he wasn't. He was no more Christian than Antoine LaVey.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. And I couldn't tell other countries, you should support us because we're a Christian nation, because we're not acting like a Christian nation at times, especially under his administration. And so that's my thing with Israel is it's not the people, they're suffering. It's the leadership that either get in and do it or stay out of it. But
Well, here's another thing, though, bro. Here's the pattern. Jews, real Jews, have been kicked out
yeah,
of countries.
exactly.
The Holocaust, this and that. What are you going to do when you have real Jews in Israel? What's going to happen?
Well, they're being kicked out of their own country, a lot of them. The Orthodox Jews are being suppressed
Right.
by the government.
They may have to be, though, because the Orthodox Jews have a belief in they're pacifists. Jews are pacifists. If you really think about
Yeah,
it, they are
I see
pacifists.
what you're saying.
You know?
I see what you're saying.
That if you have a real Jew up there, going to say, "Look, we can deal with this. Let's talk to them." You know,
Well, it depends on if you're
let's,
talking Talmudic Jews or Torah Jews, because they are different. And
well,
you know,
either one of them have throughout history never really created a dominating army or whatever. They've always had to defend themselves.
yeah,
And so, you got Islamic states. If they want a Jewish state, man, have at it.
well, and it goes back to biblical times. I mean, Ishmael,
And
Isaac,
it
and
doesn't
Ishmael.
matter to
I mean,
me who's running it. They have the right to exist. And
Sure.
if you have to put a person in there
Sure.
that has
Absolutely.
the idea of how we're going to stay alive, he's the one, man. And then we can go to our synagogues. Israel, they weren't allowed to own firearms. They were not allowed citizens.
but you have to ask yourself, why is that under the same regime?
Now
That's
they
that
are
corruption
though.
I'm talking
But
about.
now they are.
They don't have a choice, or he's going to get booted. He had to. That's what I'm saying.
Whatever the situation, you have your perception of it. And like I said, when I was young, my stepfather was like semi-Orthodox Jew. He would get newspapers from Lebanon, the Palestinian Times, and all that stuff, and he would sit there and read it. He would try to keep on what's going on and there. And it gave me an idea of what was happening, And they are pacifists. They believe in peace, man. We just when you have Hanukkah, it's about them surviving certain things. It's about survival. And I could care less, but I'm not Jewish. I'm not Christian. I'm not any of that. So I could care less what Netanyahu thinks. This guy, they have the Iron Dome. You know what that is?
Yep.
What other country has to have
Right.
an Iron Dome?
Yep.
What other country? And use that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they went in there and they gave those people Gaza. They gave it to. There were Jews in there and they built a beautiful place, man. They had all of these greenhouses. They were growing food in the desert.
Yep.
They gave them Gaza. The Jews left because they couldn't pay jizya. The Jews left, and the first thing they did was destroy the greenhouse.
Yeah.
They had to start depending on food from other places.
Yeah.
And Israel allows Muslims to come in there
Yeah.
and work, and they allow them to come in there and do stuff,
Yeah.
And
Which baffles me.
that's how they are. That's
I
who
mean-
they are, man. You know what I'm saying?
But that's also it reminds me of what America under Biden did with the open border. The liberals in our country are pacifists. They're like the Jew. They're the pacifists, and Trump's the hard nose. I think that's kind of what you're saying is you're saying Netanyahu's more of a hard nose, hardliner kind of guy. I think that they. My question is why I guess if it was me, I would do more of a thing like Trump did. I would go in and I would start cutting off the heads of the snakes. Although over there it's a little difficult because there's snakes everywhere.
Yeah, but
That's
see,
the problem.
we use their counterintelligence.
Yeah.
Man. They are very smart people, man.
Oh, they're brilliant.
The Jews, they invented the atomic bomb, Oppenheimer, the neutron bomb, the hydrogen bomb, Einstein. They are intelligent people.
But that's also kind of scary that Jews they're so pacifist, yet they invented these weapons of death. That's sort of there's some deep diving you could go into that too, And then you look at the Epstein Jews, the Rothschild Jews, the Soros Jews. There's these sects of Jews that sold their own countrymen out. That's what I'm talking about. That's who's running Israel.
These people, these Jews, let's say the atomic bomb. This is a weapon of death. But if we didn't have the atomic bomb, how long would have World War II been going on?
Oh, no, certainly. You
know
got
what
to
I'm
do what you got to
saying?
do. Absolutely.
You got to do.
Yeah.
And then,
No, I agree.
Then you had scientists. They're scientists. know.
Well, and it's
what's
easy for us to
going
sit
on.
here and armchair it.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm arguing. By the way, I'm arguing more as devil's advocate
Right.
because I do support Israel. I'm pro-Israel. I'm just not pro-government.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of bullshit going on right now on both sides. Hamas is bad. Period. Plain bad. They need to eat. They need to be wiped out. Plain and simple. But there's a lot. They're also in with civilians who have nothing to do with it. I'm not for just going in there and wiping them out.
No, Hamas is not a group of people. Hamas
That's the
is an
problem.
ideology.
Yeah.
And one of the videos you might have even seen was on October 7th, they grabbed a girl.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And she was in the back of the car.
Yep.
He pulled her
Yep.
out. Well,
Yeah.
what you'll see that real quick, and then boom,
She'd
that's
been
it.
raped.
But I watched further when it first happened. I watched further, and I'm telling you, that girl sat in the back of that seat of that car, and these Palestinians lined up
Yeah.
to walk up and punch her
Yeah.
as
Oh,
hard as they
they're
could,
animals,
man.
yeah.
The
Absolutely.
Palestinians hate.
Yeah.
They just and they allowed Hamas.
No, and
they should have known
I
through
don't
the
disagree
PLO,
with that at all.
because
Yeah.
the PLO was the same fucking way, man.
No, and I don't disagree with any of that. What I disagree, they're animals. It's the politicians playing patty cake and playing bullshit games that I don't like. It's either figure out a plan, go in there and do it, or mind your business. But I don't believe that those knuckleheads just got through that defense. You could hear a mouse fart, and all of a sudden one day they just walked through like
Well,
nothing.
they did it on ultralights too. They came
why didn't they
over.
Yeah, but
on
where was all the
shitty little
defenses? Why couldn't the citizens have guns? Same reason our governor here wants to take away our guns.
But our
I'm not blaming the people of
Constitution-
Israel. I'm blaming the government of Israel.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to.
I got
I don't
you.
want to mince those two because I do support the people of Israel, just like I support the people of America. But under Biden,
Right.
I couldn't look at other nations and say support us.
Nope.
Hell no. Hell no. I mean,
So
that's what I'm getting at.
in
anyway.
a nutshell,
Yeah.
Islam, whatever, criminals, politicians are the
There you go.
root
There you go.
of all the problems in
100%.
America
100%.
right now.
100%.
Politicians. Whether the
100%.
Muslims are allowed to do what they want to do in this country,
Yeah.
but Trump is not a politician.
That's the difference.
Trump is telling these people from these countries can't come over here. They're all Shiites. They're going to fucking kill us. They want to kill us. They want to kill everybody. They can't come here. And then the liberals go, "Oh, you racist
Exactly.
pig," and all
Exactly.
this and that. I have a lot of hope. As long as somebody doesn't kill our president.
Which they've tried a number of times now.
Number of times, man. And then I just saw a recent thing where he was at dinner somewhere and they walked into the restaurant there and they were within arm's length
Really?
screaming at him, man.
I did not see that.
Yeah, fucking pig. This.
Really?
I'm like, where the fuck is the Secret Service at around here?
That just happened?
Yeah, man. Look it up, bro.
Even in light of... everything-
it
really?
just happened the other day.
I haven't seen that yet.
And these other, Marco Rubio standing there going, what the fuck is going on here, you know?
Interesting.
Now, he's got some very key people in the right position, and Marco Rubio's one of them.
Yeah.
He's not putting up with any
Yeah,
bullshit.
no, he's been fabulous.
Pete Hegseth
Yep.
is changing the military.
Yep.
No more bitches and dresses and all that crap, this and that. We're going to have men up in here. It's hard to find, though, in this soy boy cuckold fucking generation nowadays.
Yep.
I saw a video of a boot camp, and it had these guys marching, and they were the skinniest, the scrawniest looking fuckers and they were all white. They all had their head shaved. And they all wore a camel thing with water in it, because so they don't just
Dehydrate.
die. You know what I'm saying? And there was 2 drill sergeants, one female, one male. They were both black, and they were just tearing them a new asshole, man. And they were singing songs about Martin Luther King and all this shit.
Well, this ties into, and I know that we're talking about Islam, but really when you look at it all, it ties into not only the wokeism, because you have to beta cuck, you have to make eunuchs, right? But the DEI, the diversity, equity, inclusion thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw, what was it, a couple weeks ago now, where this state patrol woman, lieutenant, state patrol
She was a
lieutenant,
lieutenant.
little 5'3", 100 whatever pound woman, DEI hire. Okay,
Yeah.
She's gonna protect me. How?
No.
Gets out of her car, and this guy just swats her down like
Well,
nothing.
actually, he walked up to the car
Well,
and opened her
that's
door and
what I'm saying.
pulled her out. The
well,
fuck outta
she kind of gets out like,
Yeah,
let's go,
like,
and he
what do
just
you want?
out of the way, bitch.
She didn't think of
And I'm
lock
like,
my fucking
well,
door.
yeah, and I'm sitting here going, you're a
I do that when
lieutenant.
I'm in Bellingham and the
Yeah.
tweaker's walking too close to my shit. I lock my door.
That is first level police academy training right there.
But that's
you,
what's
You don't
happening.
let that happen. No,
That's-
it ties right into everything you're saying. It's
So-
the wokeifying, the beta cucking, the castrating of any kind of masculinity and power. Because if you depower, then only one source can rule.
They're pussies. Muslims are pussies. Because
Well, now
they
you're going to have
are-
a fatwa.
I don't give a shit. They are born, raised to be submissive. They don't show resistance. They don't grow up to,
So submissive, but terrible.
just, they're not smart because they don't get proper education and whatnot. They were spawned out of the desert. And everything's bad. Education's bad. Intelligence is bad. If you're an intelligent person, you're an unbeliever type thing. And they don't grow up with guns and rednecks and, I'm going to kick your motherfucking ass type of attitude. It's, whatever the imam says, whatever, they say, I'm a submissive Muslim. But, then you have a few imams that say, oh, you're supposed to go out and kick their ass. They don't. They blow themselves up, or they run out there
It's
in
cowardly.
a place cowardly with guns where
It's
a
cowardly, yeah.
gun-free zone, that's
But there's aspects of that, Michael, as a Christian, that I can't stand that's happened in the Christian church as well. We have this turn the other cheek mentality.
That's
Well, let
the way
me
it is.
tell you, the turn the other cheek thing, what gets me about that is it's a complete misrepresentation of what that is talking about. First of all, much of what Jesus was talking about was on an individual level, and it's not governmental, okay?
Right.
He was talking to us individually, okay? Do unto others if you have to do unto you was an individual thing. It doesn't mean you don't shed your protection as a government or have safe borders. You are defaulting. You are being negligent by not having a secure border, by not having strong men in power. And I don't mean rulers, ruthless rulers, but strong men. Romans 13 talks about the governing authorities are there for a reason. They don't bear the sword in vain. And this whole turn the other cheek thing, that was more of a protest. Meaning, when somebody slaps you on the other cheek, which was usually going to be a Pharisee or somebody in the higher up Jewish religious political system, which sort of similar to Islam in a way, the old Jewish political system, okay, they would slap you. Turning the other cheek was almost an insult.
Yeah.
It's insulting because
Like,
they
you
look
didn't
at you
harm
like,
me.
right, you can't, what are you going to do? Go ahead, hit me again. You're not going to change my opinion. It's not what today's modern, a lot of evangelicals, or especially the liberal side, well, we turn the other cheek and let my family get raped and murdered.
Yeah.
And so I shouldn't carry a gun because somebody messes with me. I should just look, I'm going to try and de-escalate. Sure. I'm going to try and avoid, as a firearms instructor, I teach people the best self-defense is when you don't have to use self-defense. If you can egress, get out of there, great. But to just allow yourself to be trampled on, and then what the liberals have done, have taken that and pushed it into government. Well, as a government, we just let everybody come in because that's how this country was founded, right? Come, all you heavy burdened, and no, those people went through the system, okay?
Right.
And I know Mexicans. I have a guy who wants me to interview him who's Filipino. Thank you, Filipino. And there was a guy recently in the news that just got
There's a lot
deported
of
because he
Islam
was
taking over the Philippines too.
He's sick and tired of other Filipinos or Mexicans because honestly, Spain took over the Philippines. They're real similar. Saying, oh well, we need special treatment. He's like, bullshit. I'm an American. I look Filipino. I have Filipino blood, but I'm an American.
Right.
Okay. You don't come to this country and bring the shithole you left with you and you want to have your culture in your home and do great, fine. But don't change America into the country you just fled from.
Well, that's the American culture, is to defend yourself.
Well,
You know
yeah, of
what I
course.
mean? And that's why we have the Second Amendment and whatnot. But Islam doesn't have that culture. They don't defend. Who's attacking them? They don't think we have the right to defend ourselves. Who's attacking them? They're the ones on the attack.
They're the ones on the attack.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I say they're like pussies, and they have terrorists
Yeah.
that go out
It's
and
very
do
cowardly.
things.
It's
very
very
cowardly.
Yeah. Well, look at ISIS and taking basically sex trafficking underage girls.
ISIS was created by the Democrats in Syria. We were trying to support the Syrian Defense Force, some small thing or whatever. We sent all these arms, and they were ISIS. And we gave them all these arms. They started killing everybody. Through Israeli intelligence, Mossad, we knew where all the people were. In one night, Donald Trump sent 59 Tomahawk missiles into Syria and wiped ISIS out in one fucking night.
Remember that.
And he just recently did it again. He has been sending weapons into like Nigeria where they're killing
He's
Christians.
on the move.
He doesn't have a problem
No,
with it.
no.
And he's not
that's
starting a war.
That's why the rest of the world respects him, is because they know he's just bold enough to do it.
But then here we go in America with this new mayor of New York, Mondami. Mondami goes to the White House. He's standing next to Trump, and Trump's shaking his hand. Why? What other mayors of cities had gone to the White House or whatever? Every Muslim in the world celebrated. Look, we got a Muslim in the White House. Now he's like, I was just briefed about Venezuela, and that's a really bad thing to hit a sovereign nation or whatever, this and that. Dude, you're a mayor. You worry about the bus fares and the fucking trash. You don't worry about what our president is fucking doing. But because he says that, the Muslims all go, look at Mondami. He's telling Trump off, this and that.
Well, it's the only reason is because New York is like its own country. It's the biggest city. It's the hub. It's the stock market, everything. And it is like America within America.
And now you got London. We were just talking about that.
Absolutely.
He was the mayor.
Absolutely.
He's still the mayor there.
No, I
Nobody's
see
done
what you're
anything.
saying. You connect the dots. You listen to everything we've talked about tonight. You look at Olan Ilmar. You look at Mondami. You look at what's going on in London. It is an Islamic invasion.
Right.
And the left is in the way. Because they're woke. their wokeness tells them, oh, it's racism. We have to let them. No. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with ideology. Let me say it again. It has to do with ideology. There's white Muslims. There's Asian Muslims. There's all kinds. It's an ideology, okay? It has nothing to do with color, okay? Their ideology is to destroy us, submit us, or kill you.
Right.
You submit or you're going to die.
That's it.
Plain and simple. That's what this is about. It's not me sitting here going, I hate Muslims because they're different. No, it's because they're destructive. They're evil. They're like a cancer. They're like a parasite to our country. And if you believe that, oh, well, there's peaceful Muslims, well, there probably is. There is. Okay, because they're either ignorant of what Islam really is, or they're very liberal, just like we have liberal Christians who don't follow half the Bible.
Right.
Okay. Or it's taqiyya. They're lying. Those are the only two options. They're either very liberal and ignorant, or they're lying. That's what I want to get the message across to everybody here, what we're dealing with. And when your neighborhood gets, or your mall that you're at gets a terrorist attack, and you have a family member, or your child dies of it, you might start thinking differently. If not, then there's something wrong with you.
Right.
But that's might be what it takes. And if you watch, I'm sure you've seen Sean Ryan. He's had on that CIA analysis gal. Her name escapes me. We got sleeper cells up the yang here now since our border's been open. We've got people just waiting to be activated. And as you said with Islam, it could just be random. It just could be, today's my day to become a martyr. I'm going to go blow myself up in a mall.
So you have Dearborn, Michigan, and the Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
Oh, jeez.
She's a Muslim.
There's another one.
She's radical. And now it's all Muslim, man. Our government took these places where you had people that were strong and you know, anti, you know, this and that.
Sure.
And replaced them with Muslims.
Right. You have to systematically.
Minnesota.
You have to systematically castrate.
The Minnesota Vikings, you know, it's snow country. Why would any Somali from the desert want to live in snow? They come here upon the request of our politicians who say, here's the money for these NGOs. Okay, now we're going to invite all these Somalis and their family and this and that, and they're going to come here. We're going to give them housing. And now
well, look at what's going on in Minnesota.
With the fraud and everything that's going on. It's just nuts,
and
man.
Waltz knew about it. He knew about it.
Yeah.
This guy, I hope
read a
they
thing
string him up.
480 people told him about it, and he said, fuck off.
Yeah.
He needs to go to jail.
Yeah, he needs
to go to jail. I mean, it's the politicians that are creating all this, but they're not doing it because they're Muslims and whatnot. They're doing it because they want to keep their seat of power.
Ideologues.
Then they want to keep their seat of power. Imagine if that stupid ass Kamala Harris and this guy Tim Walz were in the White House. We'd really be fucked. But that was what it was all about. See, the COVID allowed national mail-in voting. That's how Biden won. National mail-in voting.
Absolutely.
And then you couldn't come up with the COVID again. So they had 4 years to bring in as many as they could and send them to sanctuary states, register for shit, and then boom. You know, if you, like in Washington, I firmly believe if you were to look at all the ballots that were put in, you might find ballots up to 10,000 of them that have the same address.
Oh, I know. I watched, what's his name that did the video, 2,000 Mules. He just scratched the surface. They shot video. They had the whole mail-in. Oh, well, you're an election denier. Yes, I'm an election denier.
The Dominion vote machines.
Which we're going to find Yeah, how
Oh
interesting
yeah,
is
Maduro's
that?
gonna sing.
We're
Maduro's gonna
we're gonna
sing,
find out
boy.
a lot of interesting
But
stuff.
this is what Trump is doing.
I know, it's brilliant.
He's piece by piece.
And Michael, that is why they came at him with so many fake trials and lawsuits, because they knew if he got in, he was going to systematically take them down.
Yeah.
And that
And
is
he
what he's
started
doing.
with the judges. Now they're arresting judges and they're looking at judges and whatnot. And they're starting with them. And then it's going to go to the politicians.
And all the rational Democrats are jumping shit. You know,
Right.
you've got Tulsi Gabbard, you've got Kennedy, you've got, I mean, there's a couple local politicians around here that are Democrat that are kind of taking more of a middle
They
ground
understand.
because their party has been taken over by the far left DEI woke progressive.
They've been hijacked.
And they're starting to wake up and see, okay, this is not going to work out well. And that's happening here in Bellingham and in Whatcom County. And I don't even know but I've heard rumors already that the whole Somali thing's been going on around here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's fraud.
I'm reading that too, that there's hundreds of these daycare things.
And then you add the sanctuary policies in.
Oh,
We've got big problems.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and
because we have this cuck society, we have to leave it up to ICE. We have to leave it up to Trump. We have to leave it up to these people to do the right things to get rid of the problem, because we're not going to do it ourselves. The liberals are going to sit back and just watch the place burn, man. You know?
yeah,
It's nuts.
they have become so out of touch, and they've drank their own Kool-Aid. You know, you look at Tim Walz. You can't get more of a beta cuck than this guy. He is such a fraudster. I mean, this guy, and then Kamala Harris's statement after he stepped down, basically saying, oh, well, I have faith that, you know, even if he didn't step down, he would have probably won and all that. And it's just, these guys just cannot say, hey, you know what? I dropped the ball and I'm stepping down because I'm not, you know, they're so full of themselves.
Right.
You know, and the people say, well, look at Trump. Oh, Trump knows what he's doing. Trump purposely says asshole things because, number one, he doesn't care.
Right.
Number two, he's not a politician, so he doesn't have to be politically correct. And number three, he's trolling to see who reacts and how they react, because it gives him his next chess move. And that's
Trump
what they don't realize.
Can't stand Sadiq Khan. So Trump is going to England, and they asked Sadiq Khan, well, when Trump gets here, what are you going to show him? He said, I'm going to show him a gay parade, a pride parade. I'm going to show him a neighborhood where people aren't killing themselves. And then I'm going to show him the mosque. Nothing, I'm going to take him to the tower of this and that. Nothing about English history. Nothing.
Of course.
And that's
What does that
what's
remind you
happening
of?
now.
Remember in when was it Xi Jinping came to San Francisco?
Yeah. And
And all
Newsom
of a sudden,
cleaned up the place.
Can't clean up for shit. All of a sudden, in 1 week, these entire neighborhoods and city blocks are cleaned up.
Newsom's one of them, man. They're
He's-
gonna-
absolutely.
man, he
If you're a
needs to go.
Democrat and you watch this, how do you not see how you're being lied to? I
Right.
mean, I don't know, and I'm not. I can rip on the Republicans. I got my issues with the Republicans. The Republicans Dan Bongino coined
Right.
this phrase. The Republicans may not be the answer to all your problems, the solution, but the Democrats are definitely the cause.
So in Bellingham, when Black Lives Matter was coming to town to tear shit up, 3%ers showed up. You have a right to open carry. When that happened, you had people that lied and said these 3%ers pointed guns at them, and they looked at cameras and said, no, it never really happened. But they didn't do anything to the people telling the lies. And then you had like the ice cream shop down there. I forget the name of it. They went around with a petition saying, we don't want the 3%ers here. And they gave it to the mayor, and then the mayor gave it to the chief of police, and the chief of police said, we don't want you here. Law enforcement can't be part of the militia. You got cops. They have a job. If you were to take their paycheck and look at the signature on their paycheck, it's a politician. They work for the politicians, man. And they're going to take
supposed
their
to work
orders.
for us.
Exactly. Well, in 2009, the Supreme Court deemed that the term "to protect and to serve," remember that, was not the description of the police.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I don't see that
It's
anymore.
not the description.
That
of
is
the
interesting.
police,
I don't.
man.
What is it now?
That was just a term that they used to use, and
We'll
then
we'll eventually show up and put crime scene tape up.
My personal opinion: the job of the police is to take a body from point A to point B. We're going to take you to jail. We're going to take you to a hospital. We're going to take you wherever, court, wherever. That's it, man. Then you have investigators, but they're not really cops. You know what I mean? They're investigators. They're detectives. They've gone through trainings and all that.
I have a friend who's a detective, or an acquaintance who's
Right.
just became a detective in the sheriff's
And
department.
they're on a different level than a street cop.
Sure.
When, I don't care who you are. You can't tell somebody you can't walk the streets of Bellingham. That's what they did. Told them, don't come. You can't tell them that. That was totally unconstitutional.
Or else,
totally illegal.
where's the law that says that they can't? And what are
is
they
no
going to do
law.
if they do? Are they going to
You know
arrest
what I'm
them
saying?
and put them in the jail that's overcrowded?
Then you had all these governors throughout the country that said that the militia was threatening them. They turned around, arrested all these people in militias, scared the rest of them away, and then years later, not guilty. But then the militia's gone. Like you had talked about the 3%ers being like a rogue type of thing. That's what they are, though. They are citizen soldiers, not the Army, not the National Guard. They are citizens.
They're the boogeyman to the left, though,
because they're
because
the
they're
ones
a threat to their
tyranny.
to their tyranny, right?
They are a threat to tyranny.
Their
That's
power
what they're here
structure,
for, to
exactly.
stop tyranny.
And that's what a well-regulated militia is. It's not
But
the Army or the National Guard.
If you take away the militia and it doesn't exist, how are you going to have a well-regulated one, making the 2A stance moot?
That's what they want to do.
That's right.
Michael, you are 100% right how this all ties in.
That's it, man.
To look no further than Bob Ferguson and our state government, the sanctuary policies, all the communist, socialist, Islamist kind of policies that are perpetrating our states. And look at the taxes. Talk about taxes. I mean, apparently we all must be unbelievers because, I mean, they can't. I've never met a Democrat or heard of a Democrat in power in this state that doesn't have a tax they don't love or they don't like. I mean, we had energy taxes.
They
now.
have
We had
to do
property
it, though.
taxes. We had gas taxes.
They have to do it because now the federal government's not going to give them the money that they want.
Now they
they have to tax us.
They
to get
fucked
that
around
money.
and found out.
That's right, man.
And we all have to pay for it. But the problem is the voters, the majority, unfortunately, that are a bunch of liberals in King and Thurston and Pierce County, where the majority metropolitan population is, are so stoned and stupid that they don't freaking have a clue that they're opening it. It's like here's a sack of cancer, but it says soda pop on it. Put a straw in and start drinking it. They don't take the time to investigate it. They just suck on it.
We talked about sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, and they all have this mail-in voting thing. And we can sit here all day long and talk about the bad shit on mail-in voting, the Dominion voting machines that are rigged, all this voting stuff that's not right. I don't believe that it was 100% Washington citizens that voted for these
Oh,
people.
no. Hell no.
I think it was the illegals because there's millions.
Absolutely.
Illegals and people just on the left that just completely screwed the
dead people
voting
voted.
system.
You
You know
people
what I'm
whose
saying?
address
And
don't
that's
even
how
live
they
at that
get
address.
into power.
If a ballot was sent to an address and somebody stole it from that address, all you got to do is fill it out.
No, even Washingtonians would have enough sense to know, well, maybe we shouldn't put a coffee barista in charge with a $7 billion,
Right.
budget.
Okay, but look at our new mayor of Seattle. I don't even think
That's what
she's
I'm
been a
talking
coffee.
about.
I don't even think she's been a coffee
That's
barista.
what I'm talking about. She's got a $7 billion fucking, budget. And what's she going to do? What's the first thing she does? We're not going to arrest people. We're going to allow open air drug trafficking going on. And I have a problem with the police. And then the police go, we have a problem with you. That means they're going to walk away. There's not going to be anybody to protect anybody.
No. And
Dude,
I
feel like going down into Seattle and slapping the shit out of a whole lot of people.
Dude, I just saw. That's funny you say that because I just commented on a Facebook post by the Seattle Police Department encouraging, we need law enforcement. We have a career for you and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see the next chop zone under this new mayor. Good luck with good luck with hiring. There's not a rational law enforcement officer in this planet who would take a job in Seattle if they have any clue of what's going on there.
They're going to get this shit slapped out of them and their car taken.
Exactly. Yeah. No. I
and and they burned the police station and shit in Seattle. And
all you have to do is look at the new mayor and just say 2 words: chop zone. You think Jenny Durkin was bad?
Oh yeah,
Wait till
Jenny's
this
like, this is a summer of peace.
The summer of love.
Let's give these rioters porta potties and pizza.
Let's give over the whole police department. They can have the block. And you know what's also hilarious to me is all these business owners down there who are liberals who voted for Jenny Durkin, complaining about, I can't believe this has happened. And it's like, you can't.
All the poop in my front door.
You voted for it.
We have to put plywood up and whatnot.
You voted for it.
That's
you
it,
dumbass.
Man. That's it.
And their hatred for conservatives is so palpable that they would rather swim in feces and convince themselves it's chocolate pudding.
I firmly believe that if Trump changes the voting system,
oh, absolutely,
where you have to go up, register, get a paper voting thing, show your identification, do your choosing, drop it in, and have legitimate people counting it, that the Republican Party would just absolutely take over.
You talked about pattern recognition. Pattern recognition tells you for the last almost going on over 30 years now in this state has gone Democrat since mail-in ballots. That's pattern recognition, okay? Do not tell me there's nothing to it. There's been an influx of liberals and an outflow, a mass exodus of conservatives, but you can't, in the last election that was close with Christine Gregoire and Dino Rossi, they had to recount 3 times until she finally won. So, you're being completely disingenuous and asinine. If you're a Democrat and you're saying, it has nothing to do with that, come on. Then let's just go back to the old, we walk up, we go to the voting booth, and we vote.
So I have seen the patterns for so long. I have only voted one time in my life. And I only voted for one person. I'm 66, bro. I voted one time and for one person. And that's it. And that was Donald Trump.
Well, I appreciate your vote because it worked.
You know what I'm saying? It worked. And
you voted at the right time.
And honestly, when Biden became president was the first time I got my AR-15. I've never had one before. And I said, I'm getting this AR-15 because I think something's really bad going on. And then when I voted, I said, I'm going to vote. And if he doesn't win, I'm going to take it personal.
But that you just touched on something, and that's the problem with a lot of people in this state, and I'm guilty of it too, is we don't go to council meetings, we don't show up because we don't believe it's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
We just don't believe
It's not.
It's like you haven't voted, I'm guessing, because what's the point? The mail-in
What's
ballot.
the point?
What's the point? Yeah, and
You
it's
know?
like,
And when he ran the first time he won, I said, okay, he did a great job. When it came time to do it again, I'm like, oh, he's going to win by a landslide.
that's what everybody thought.
Those are the patterns I saw.
Yep.
And boom, I said, no. When he didn't win, I said, no. Something.
Everybody did.
Totally off pattern. Totally off pattern. And I said, no.
Well, yeah.
Because when he was president is when Inslee made the whole state a sanctuary state. And it was like, probably Trump's got big problems with this.
And it was during COVID, which was also perpetrated.
Yeah.
As soon as COVID came out, I said, hold on a second.
They made us
Hold
sick,
on a second.
man.
You're telling me that there's this alleged mass pandemic right in the middle of Trump running again?
And
now we're finding out exactly what I thought, that the Democrats were all involved in it.
And where was the first case of COVID?
I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Inslee started.
Oh, I know. Now, I'm not saying COVID itself wasn't a thing, but it was perpetrated on
Get
purpose.
Indoors. Don't go here. Don't see. Don't talk to each other.
No.
Don't get together and resist.
And there's still people in Bellingham walking around with masks.
Yeah, man.
They believed all that.
They're pathetic, man.
Well,
They are pathetic.
My mind explodes because, you know, the can't we all just get along crowd. I'm like, hell no, I can't get along with those people. When you're that stupid, you're dangerous. And when you're dangerous, I have to preemptively protect myself from your dangerousness.
Bro, when that guy left Bellingham and went to D.C. and killed somebody yelling Allah Akbar, I started driving around with my rifle in my car.
Well, and the thing is, I think what you're saying is you're not looking for trouble, but you want to be ready for it. And I was watching a podcast the other day that talked about this. It's like, look, we need, in fact, it was Officer Tatum talking about, we need those citizen militia. You know, the reason that you don't see a lot of stuff happening in red areas or red states is because that's where all the guns are. You get out here to Washington State, or people say, well, there's stuff that's happened in red states. Yeah, they were in leftist cities.
Right.
Leftist cities. And that's another thing, is you've got red states that have a bunch of blue cities, and that's where the shit happens.
Mm-hmm. And to get my AR, I had to have a friend give me a lower, and then I had to order my upper just before
The new law.
Inslee said no more.
Yep.
You can't order shit, this and that.
Michael, I was telling people for the last 5 years, said start buying stuff now because it's coming in this state where you're not going to be able to buy. I can't even get a replacement trigger.
Right.
I can't buy a replacement trigger, CMC, for any of my ARs.
Right.
Just because it falls under the big black scary rifle category.
Yeah.
That's not only illegal, it goes against my constitutional Second Amendment rights, but it's
They don't care
an
about the
invasion of my,
Constitution.
well, no, they
They
don't.
don't.
They don't. They care about freedom of speech, so they say, until it comes to speech they don't agree with. Like when COVID, they censored all of us who said, hey, wait a minute, hold on here. Something's not right. This isn't adding up. Oh, no. You just need to shut up. We know what's going on. I mean, look at what happened when Elon Musk finally bought Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man,
went
people were
berserk.
shitting their pants.
That was a big meeting place for them all.
And then look at what Zuckerberg came out and said. Yeah, I was actually pressured by the Biden FBI to censor and scrub.
And stuff. And when that guy from Twitter kicked Trump off, man, I was like, who the fuck Look at these people,
Well,
man.
and then the thing is the leftists sat there and said, "You guys are all just making this up. You're all paranoid." And now it's all coming out,
Yeah.
and they're still doubling down.
They're doubling down. That's
I
the
mean,
whole thing, man.
that the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over again,
Over and
expecting
over.
different results. These people are straight up delusional.
Yeah.
And that's why you see
Yeah.
some Democrats
Psycho.
starting to jump ship and go, I'm running independent, or I'm like, because the rational, old school, classical liberal, blue dog liberals aren't this far left psychopathy.
Right.
And they're going, hold on a second. And the same thing's happening. I even know we're digressing, but the same thing's happening in the LGBTQ community. I just met with a gal.
Mafia.
Well, I just met with a gal who's we agree with. We're kind of on this. We're on the same team. She's a lesbian, but she's not for this transgender stuff.
No.
In fact, she used to work in a clinic that did these surgeries, and she's now coming out against it and exposing it. And they just want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gay. I want to go live my life. Leave me alone. That's different than these militant transists that want men and women's sports. They want to chop off little Johnny's wiener at the age of 7 because he once played with a doll. This is insanity.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting, Michael? In social media, out of all the pushback I get, the most pushback I get back is from the trans community.
Right.
It is their hill to die on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is evil to
And
the core.
They're the ones that are shooting people. They're the ones that are killing kids and all that other shit, man.
Well,
it's a mental illness.
You can't. Let's talk about hormones for a second. If we're going to digress. Hormones, I'm in that age group where I know I have female friends. They're menopausal. They're all over the place. Hormones will make you do and think things that are not rational.
Hormones and testosterone.
And it works for guys too.
Yeah.
Hormones are like alcohol. They can make you feel really good, or they can make you feel really bad. So
Right.
what happens when you take a prepubescent child and start pumping them full of the wrong sex hormones? Of course they're going to go shoot up a freaking school. Okay? You're making them crazy. And their body's not feeling right. There's Chloe Cole. I'm doing a lot of stuff now. I'm going to start doing some pieces with Chloe Cole.
I've watched a lot of her.
She's detransitioned. She had her breast cut off. She went through all the stages and just woke up and realized but it was pushed on her by Big Pharma and all these trans advocates. That's what I'm talking about. And that's a whole other
Washington, they've got this gender affirmation bullshit for kids and stuff. And
8 to 13 in Washington State now, your parents have no rights.
Yeah.
Your kid they can take your kid in and brainwash them, and you can't say anything about it. Do not tell me, if you're a Democrat, that's rational. Okay? How can you be a Democrat and support that? I mean, it's absurd. Unless you're working your way out. I mean, I just anyway, we could get on a whole rabbit trail. That's a whole other podcast but it all ties in to what you're saying about how the basically political system of Islam works, how it's infiltrated here into our country and even in our own state. And we have Ramaswamy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's East Indian, I think, but I'm not sure if she's Muslim or Sikh. So I don't want to misquote or put an ideology on her, but she's got the same ideology, basically. This leftist, submissive theology.
I think our president is a very smart person. And I think with the people that he has gotten together, because we're weeding out different ones, this and that, and he's doing his thing. But he's sitting down with them and saying, if we do this, this should happen. And they know it, and they are determined to get on it.
Oh, they're terrified of him.
The Islamic ideology, as long as Trump and Vance, Marco
Rubio,
Rubio, the right people,
Mm-hmm.
just keep at it, change the right things. Gnome and all that can take them away, do all that stuff, and then they can make the changes and make men men again,
Yep.
and women women,
Yep.
and give confidence in people that they don't have to submit to this global idea of turning us all into eunuchs.
It takes, what's the old saying? What's that saying? All it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing.
Right.
And that I blame on the Republicans. For too long now, the Republicans have taken this passivity. And now we've got somebody like Trump. And look, I get it. Sometimes the MAGA thing seems a bit extreme. But MAGA is it's the anti-woke. That's
Right.
the problem. If you didn't have woke, you wouldn't have MAGA. You wouldn't need it. But that's the problem. You always have to have a counterpart.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's what we need. We're in extreme times right now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's time for the Republicans to wake the F up and quit playing patty cake. And that's what Trump's doing. He's playing 4D chess while the Dems are playing checkers. And it was the other way around. The Dems, they get into our schools. They got into our government. They
Right.
start making policies. They're all a bunch of freaking lawyers. So they know how to manipulate the laws. They know how to beta cuck their way through things.
Right.
And that's how we've gotten to where we are today. And I've known some of these Republicans that are just kind of like mamsy-pamsy. The problem is you don't have the luxury anymore to sit back and go, somebody else will take care of it.
Right.
I just don't have the time. Oh, I just can't. Well, guess what? It used to be it was going to be at your door. Now it's in your house.
Right.
And it's time to wake up. And I think that's essentially what you're trying to say here. This isn't about bashing a religion. It's about talking about the truth and the ideology behind what's happening in America and the systematic infiltration and destruction. It's clear to see for anyone who has their eyes halfway open.
Right.
The question is, what do we do about it? And I think having somebody like Trump, can you imagine if we had somebody like Trump in our state? Our taxes would probably go down, first of all. There'd be tax credits and for
everybody
companies,
had housing.
right? Well, the thing is he's pro-business, right?
Right.
We do manufacturing. The manufacturing we have here is in spite of the liberals. It's not because of, it's in spite of it. And that's going away. Look at Amazon. Jeff Bezos, and these guys are all leaving.
Yeah.
And we just raised the what was the tax they just raised? The permit fees by like 30%. It's like this is the least pro-business, one of the least pro-business
nicotine
states.
tax.
New nicotine tax.
I don't smoke, but
well,
hey.
I know, but you know, the liberals love taxes. They're so delusional. You can't tax your way out of anything.
Because they don't want to produce anything.
Exactly.
They just want to sit around.
Exactly. We are not an industrial state anymore.
Nope.
We are becoming a services state.
It's all
just
about
like this country. That's what
computer
Trump
tech in Seattle.
That's what Trump is trying to do. He's trying to make America an industrial country again, not a services country. A services country consumes.
That's it. All we do is consume.
An industrial country produces.
That's right.
That's the difference. The liberals want to consume.
Right.
They want to sit around, go to restaurants. They don't want industry. And if there is industry, they want the cheap labor. And look, there's Republicans that are guilty of that too. In fact, I'll recant my statement. It's the Republicans that have wanted the cheap labor for their factories, and the Democrats want the votes.
Right.
So both parties have sold us a bunch of bullshit at some point in time.
And again, it goes down to where I say politicians are the root of all the problems in America.
That
all of them.
right there, my friend, is the perfect way to end
All
this.
of them. All right, bud.
Well, that's a great way to wrap
That's
it up
right,
right
man.
there. Just how we started, and that is politicians are the problem.